Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
Abandoned Earth loomed quietly under a blanket of soft, golden sunlight as nature's hand reached eagerly into the remnants of a once thriving metropolis. Towering buildings, still imposing despite the vines that clung to their facades, gave testimony to humanity's long-lost brilliance. The air was thick with the scent of wildflowers and grass, reclaiming concrete pathways that had long been devoid of life. Rusting cars sat still, silent witnesses to events that had punctured the vibrant pulse of civilization, leaving only echoes of laughter and life. In this sprawling wasteland, Charles ventured through the ruins of a world he once knew. A rugged figure of 30, with disheveled hair and sun-kissed skin, he moved with a mixture of caution and desperation. In his heart lingered a yearning for connection, something or someone, to fill the gaping void left by humanity's absence. Each day blended into the next, the solitude becoming both a comfort and a torment, as the ghostly memories of laughter and joy haunted his footsteps. On this particular morning, Charles stood on the crumbling rooftop of an old library, gazing out at the horizon painted with brilliant hues. He had always found solace in the sunset, a streak of flame against the sky, reminding him of what was lost. Unbeknownst to him, the flicker of adventure was about to ignite his dull existence. Meanwhile, light years away, Daisy and her companions soared through the galaxy aboard their agile spacecraft. Daisy, an alien of celestial beauty with iridescent skin that shimmered like a starry night, felt an inexplicable pull toward the blue planet below. With long, silvery hair cascading around her shoulders and wide, expressive eyes gleaming with excitement, she led her friends in their quest to explore this strange new world, Earth. Uncertain of what to expect, the trio marveled at their arrival. As their ship pierced the cloud cover, the stark contrast between their advanced technology and the overgrown landscapes below opened up before them. They knew Earth to be a fabled paradise, but the desolation shocked them. Daisy's heart fluttered at the sight, not of paradise, but of the remnant of a race that had once lived vibrantly. As their craft landed softly amidst the ruins of what appeared to be a forgotten park, Daisy's excitement turned to worry. "Is it truly abandoned?" she pottered aloud. The others shared her concern, but their sense of adventure prevailed as they began to explore, convinced that the stories of Earth held far more than mere remnants. Little did they know, fate had intertwined their paths. In the shadows of the crumbling library, Charles sensed a shift in the atmosphere, a whisper of something unusual. His heart raced as a soft hum echoed through the quiet, growing louder, drawing him closer. Suddenly, a flash of light broke the stillness, and he turned just in time to see the craft from outer space touching down nearby. Their worlds were on the brink of colliding, and as Charles moved toward the source of the light, he had no idea that he was about to meet Daisy and her companions, marking the beginning of an adventure that would change everything. As the light from the alien craft faded, silence engulfed the area. Charles hesitated, his curiosity piqued but his heart pounding with caution. He had spent years alone, and the thought of encountering someone, other than his own shadow both thrilled and terrified him. He took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders as he ventured toward the clearing where the craft had landed. Daisy stepped out first, her shimmering form catching the dim light of the sun. Her delicate features glowed ethereally, contrasting sharply against the overgrown backdrop of twisted vines and crumbling stone. Her companions followed. One was tall and stately, with skin that sparkled faintly like a diamond, while the other was shorter, with vibrant orange skin and wide eyes that brimmed with wonder. Together, they made an undeniably stunning sight. "There's nobody here," Daisy declared, a slight tremor in her voice as her luminous eyes scanned the desolate surroundings. Her excitement was palpable, but so was the hint of disappointment. She had imagined meeting thriving cultures and bustling streets, not a world steeped in silence. "Perhaps they're hidden," the orange-skinned member chimed in, her voice smooth yet filled with anticipation. "We should explore further." Meanwhile, Charles hid behind the crumbling remains of a car, his breath caught in his throat. He had seen creatures and oddities since the fall of humanity, but nothing like this. Their similarities to humans were uncanny, and yet their differences marked them as something far beyond his wildest dreams. As they talked, he could feel an inexplicable pull towards them, a thirst to know more. Before he could decide whether to approach or flee, the three aliens began to wander further into the park. Gathering courage, Charles stepped from the shadows. "Ah, hello." His voice trembled, breaking the thick silence. The aliens froze, their attention snapping to Charles. Daisy's wide eyes met his. There was a moment of profound stillness as they all took in one another's presence. As a rush of emotions coursed through him, excitement mingled with anxiety. He noticed that they didn't appear threatening. Instead, they looked just as curious as he felt. "Who are you?" Daisy asked, her voice a melodic mix of caution and intrigue. Her confidence shone brighter than the uncertainty swirling in the air. "Are you the guardian of this place?" "I'm Charles," he replied, trying to maintain composure. "The last human, as far as I know." The gravity of the words struck him. Had he really just said that? It felt absurd, yet somehow liberating. "The last human?" one of Daisy's companions echoed, her eyes widening in astonishment. "You live here all alone?" Charles nodded slowly. "Yes, it's been years since anyone else was around." In the next moment, Daisy stepped closer, her expression a mix of empathy and wonder. "You must be lonely," she said softly, her voice wrapping around him like a warm embrace. "We thought this planet was abandoned. We came searching for something." "Something?" Charles echoed, intrigued. "What do you seek?" he pressed, genuinely curious. Daisy hesitated, glancing back at her companions before looking back at him. "We seek knowledge, stories, and perhaps friendship," she replied, hope glimmering in her voice. A nervous smile spread across Charles's face as he recognized a flicker of possibility igniting deep within him. "Friendship? I think I could help with that. I have a lot of stories." Over the next few moments, laughter and conversational exchanges punctuated the air. Their differences blended seamlessly as Daisy and her companions shared their own stories of advanced worlds, star travels, and thrilling adventures, while Charles recounted tales of vibrant Earth gatherings, childhood mischief, and the peculiarities of human emotion. They each marveled at the other. The aliens with their enchanting stories of galaxies and constellations, and Charles with the rich tapestry of humanity's emotional struggles and triumphs. As the day unfolded, Charles felt something he hadn't felt in years: connection, warmth, and an unquenchable thirst for understanding. Through shared laughter, lingering glances, and the gentle curiosity that wrapped around them like the vines at their feet, an unspoken connection began to blossom. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow around them, while the first hints of dusk danced through the trees. Charles and the alien girl stood together in that enchanted moment, a strange but powerful bond being forged amid the rubble. Then, as the stars began to twinkle overhead, he felt a profound sense of hope, whispering promises of adventures yet to come. As the twilight deepened into night, Charles, Daisy, and her companions settled beneath the ancient canopy of trees that surrounded the park, a small patch of life amidst the ruins. Laughter floated freely in the air, mingling with the sounds of gentle rustling leaves. They had made a pact, an unspoken agreement to share their worlds over the coming days. "Tell us more about your kind," Daisy prompted, her iridescent skin shimmering softly in the silvery moonlight. She leaned forward, her curiosity palpable. "What is it like to be human?" Charles hesitated, but then smiled at her genuine interest. "Being human is complicated," he began, reflecting on the journey his life had taken. "We're filled with emotions: joy, sadness, love, and even envy. Each feeling is a gift and a curse. It binds us to one another and sometimes tears us apart." "What about love?" asked the taller of Daisy's companions, her diamond-like skin glimmering as she leaned closer, enraptured by Charles's words. "I've read that emotion can be very powerful in your stories." Charles's heart skipped a beat at the question. "Love? It's one of the strongest forces we have. It can be intoxicating and heartbreaking. The feeling of caring for someone, wanting to protect them, to share your life with them. That's love. With rapt attention, Daisy and her friends listened closely, their keen eyes absorbing every detail. In turn, Daisy shared tales of her people, a race that valued harmony and collective well-being. Her vivid descriptions painted a world where emotions were felt deeply, yet the bond of camaraderie always triumphed. As days turned into weeks, they explored the remnants of humanity together. Charles traced the paths of memory as he guided Daisy and her companions through the decaying urban jungle, the remnants of parks where children once played, the echoes of life buzzing within the remnants of buildings. They danced amid flickering fireflies in the warmth of the gatherings, sharing meals from foraged fruits, and immersed themselves in each other's cultures. Daisy's laughter became a melody that filled Charles's heart with joy. Her companions, whom Charles learned were named Lyra and Vexa, brought their own unique charm. Lyra, proud and confident, often showcased her aerial abilities by gliding gracefully through the air, while Vexa's inquisitive nature made her the perfect companion during exploratory adventures, unearthing forgotten technologies and secrets buried beneath the earth. One evening, after a long day of exploration, they gathered around a flickering campfire beneath a sky spilling over with stars. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement as Charles revealed some artifacts he had salvaged over the years, old books, photos, and fragmented pieces of forgotten technology. "Show us your stories," Lyra urged softly, her shimmering eyes reflecting the firelight. Charles picked up an old, battered book. It was a children's tale, one of joy and wonder. As he began to read aloud, the charm of the tale wove around them, enriching the air with warmth. The three alien girls listened intently, often interjecting with questions about nuances and feelings, moments of disbelief turning into shared enthusiasm. "Why would they play with toys made of plastic?" Daisy asked, her brow furrowing in bewilderment. "To create joy, I suppose," Charles responded, chuckling. "It's the simple pleasures that often bring people together, whether it's a game, a meal, or stories. Growing up, we played outside, we shared, we laughed." As he continued reading, a soft companionship blossomed among them. Charles felt invigorated, as if a piece of his heart had been resurrected. The alien girls embraced the human rituals with delight, loving the connection it forged between them. In the following days, they engaged in cultural exchanges that deepened their bond. Daisy taught Charles about their healing techniques using natural resources, while Lyra introduced him to a game where they would leap and fly through the air, challenging the limits of gravity in ways he never thought possible. They began to work as a team, blending their skills and creativity. Each day felt like a celebration of life, of friendship, of a newfound family. Each moment an echo of laughter punctuated with light-hearted banter, the kind that drew them closer and illuminated the dim memories of isolation that haunted Charles. Weeks passed, with stories shared by the fire, races under the starlit sky, and adventures in the ruins of fallen cities. Their laughter rang out, drowning out the shadows of loneliness that Charles had known for so long. Each of them found solace in their bond, a connection that transcended their differences and embraced a unity that felt destined. But beneath the surface, Charles felt a stir of apprehension. Though they enjoyed each other's company and shared captivating stories, the reality of their worlds loomed ever closer. The more he opened up to Daisy and her companions, the more he realized how different their lives had been. One night, while lying on the soft grass, with the stars twinkling above them, he turned to Daisy. "Do you think, once you leave, will you ever return? Or will this be a fleeting moment in time?" Daisy's gaze softened, and she turned to him, her eyes reflecting the cosmic twinkle of the heavens above. "I wish I could promise certainty in the universe, but our paths are uncertain. What I can promise is this. You've carved a place in my heart, Charles. I'll carry our memories with me, wherever I go." With those words, the air became charged with possibilities, a mixture of joy and an ache of uncertainty, leaving Charles to ponder the vulnerabilities and connections that came with each laugh, each shared experience. in the heart of solitude. He had found something beautiful, yet he feared its eventual loss. As the starlit nights continued, a spark ignited deep within Charles and Daisy, a connection that transcended their worlds, illuminating the path forward, one filled with both promise and peril. One crisp morning, as dew clung to the blades of grass and the sun began its ascent, the tranquility of their peaceful sanctuary was shattered. Charles had just finished gathering wild berries for their breakfast when he heard a low rumble in the distance, an ominous sound that grew steadily louder. "What is that?" Vexa asked, her vibrant eyes scanning the horizon with swift urgency. Daisy and Lyra turned to Charles, their expressions shifting from curiosity to concern. "I don't know," Charles replied, his heartbeat quickening. The sound resonated with an unsettling familiarity, reminding him of the chaotic storms that heralded changes before the fall of humanity. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them, sending vibrations through the earth. Daisy's expression hardened, a bead of determination forming on her brow. "We should investigate. Whatever it is, it might threaten our newfound home." Charles nodded, though a knot formed in his stomach. They quickly gathered their belongings and moved cautiously toward the sound source. As they advanced, the air turned thick with tension. The peaceful atmosphere had shifted, replaced by a prickling forewarning. As they climbed the hill, the sight that lay before them halted their steps. A fleet of alien ships, sleek and menacing, hovered ominously above the remains of a city they had yet to explore. The ships emitted a harsh hum, casting shadows over the broken buildings below. "Who are they?" Lyra asked, clenching her fists. The light from the ships illuminated their faces, revealing the grim determination in Daisy's eyes. Charles squinted, barely able to make out the figures emerging from the ships. They moved with military precision, clad in advanced armor that glinted in the sunlight. With a surge of adrenaline, Charles realized that they were not here for exploration. They were here for conquest. "We have to warn the others, our people. They might be in danger," Vexa urged, her voice sharp with concern. "They could be hunting for technology, or worse, for slaves." Daisy turned to Charles, her voice intense. "Can you help us? How can we fight against them?" Charles took a breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "I've learned to navigate the remnants of this world. I might know how to use the old technology against them, but we'll need to be quick and clever." Without another word, they slipped back into the shadows, weaving through the overgrown alleyways and crumbling structures. Their hearts raced as they made their way to the hidden corners of Charles's world, a place dotted with remnants of the past that could act as their defenses. They had to work together to protect their new home. As they scoured the ruins, they brainstormed ideas on how to counter the alien threat. Charles showed them old machinery and weapons, explaining their functions as best as he could. Daisy used her knowledge of engineering to help modify the remnants for defense. Lyra and Vexa, fueled by their desire to protect Charles and the bonds they had forged, prepared to scout the territory, devising strategies that would give them an advantage. Every second counted as they worked tirelessly, with the distant sounds of the encroaching invaders growing ever closer. The team rallied around their shared sense of purpose, fueling each other's determination. It was as if the connections they had built over weeks ignited a fire in their hearts, melding their very beings into one united front. In quieter moments, when the tension began to build, Charles found himself connecting with Daisy on a deeper level. "I never imagined I would be fighting alongside alien beings, not after all this time alone," he admitted one night as they finalized their plans. Daisy looked at him with a mixture of pride and concern. "You are not alone anymore, Charles. We fight for one another now. Together we are stronger." Their gazes lingered for a moment, an unspoken promise flickering in the air. Though danger loomed ahead, the bond between them had transformed into something resolute and fierce, an understanding that in each of them lay a shared strength that could not easily be extinguished. The night before the expected confrontation, tension crackled like electricity around their campfire. They circled the flames, their emotions tethered tightly together. Charles felt a surge of bravery melting away his fear, glancing toward his newfound family. "We can do this," "We've come too far to back down now," he declared, his voice steady. "Whatever happens, we stand together." His words rang through the air, resonating with the shared resolve of the aliens beside him. They agreed, nodding with solemn determination. Each of them took a moment to acknowledge one another, cementing their commitment to face the approaching storm together. But even amidst their strength, uncertainty lingered on the fringes of their minds like a restless ghost. As they prepared for the confrontation, deep down, Charles struggled with the fear of losing this newly forged bond, the very thing that had breathed life back into him. The ominous hum of the alien ships began to suffocate the air around them, a reminder that dawn's first light would soon herald a battle none of them could foresee. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown toward an unknown fate, and as Charles looked at Daisy and the others, he understood that whatever the outcome, they had already changed each other's lives forever. Dawn broke as Charles and the alien girls fortified their defenses. The weight of their impending confrontation hung heavy in the air. Each of them had trained in the remnants of technology and strategy, working as a cohesive unit, but nerves crackled just beneath the surface. "Remember, we fight as one," Charles reminded them, looking into the determined faces of Daisy, Lyra, and Vexa. "Stay close, and we'll manage this together." As the first ship descended, a blast of light illuminated the clearing, and the invaders poured out, advanced weaponry glinting menacingly. The moment had arrived. With hearts pounding, they sprang into action. First, Daisy maneuvered with grace, using her alien agility to dodge incoming blasts while further channeling energy into the improvised shields they had constructed. In combat, her movements were mesmerizing, combining power with fluidity. Charles could hardly believe he was fighting alongside her. Vexa and Lyra flanked the enemies, their alien abilities shining through as they coordinated their attacks, evoking a synergy that bolstered their strength. The team was fluid, more than just allies. They were bonded by their shared struggles and mutual trust. Amidst the chaos, Charles noticed the flickering bond between him and Daisy intensifying as they fought side by side. Each time they narrowly avoided a hit, an exhilarating rush of adrenaline coursed between them, heightening the awareness that they were not just fighting for survival, but for something deeper, a connection that had begun to weave ever tighter together during their time on Earth. As the skirmish raged on, Charles glanced toward Daisy, her every movement igniting a fire within him, reminding him of the emotional and physical connection they shared. The thought crossed his mind. Could they truly be mated in a spiritual sense? The bond felt as if it transcended mere friendship, hinting at something primal and defining. "Together, Charles," Daisy shouted, her voice piercing through the din. They launched an offensive together, their movements synchronized like a well-rehearsed dance. Just then, their eyes locked, an unspoken promise that they would face whatever came next as partners, not just in battle, but perhaps in life. The tide of the confrontation shifted as they pushed back against the enemy, strategically outmaneuvering them. It was in the heat of it all that Charles felt himself standing taller, empowered by Daisy's presence. They fought fiercely, turning the once crystalline bond between them into a potent force against their invaders. As the last of the enemy troops retreated, a roar of victory erupted from their united front. Charles and the alien girl stood together, panting but alive, their spirits soaring triumphantly. Lyra, still catching her breath, turned to Charles with a radiant grin. "You fought valiantly, human." "Together," Vexa echoed, her eyes sparkling with joy. "We made an incredible team." Daisy stepped closer to Charles, her voice gentle, yet fierce with emotion. "You truly are a warrior, Charles." She paused, the heat of the battle still fresh in the air. "But we must also recognize the bond we've built, our connection." As she spoke, something flickered in Charles's chest, a mix of urgency and longing. "Daisy, He hesitated, words tumbling like stones in his mind. "What we've been through has changed me. I feel drawn to you." Her luminous eyes shimmered back at him, understanding reflected in her gaze. "I feel it too, Charles. The bond between us has transformed. It's deeper than friendship." As the adrenaline subsided, a new energy thrummed in the air. To protect, to nurture, to explore the possibilities that lay before them in their unique union. The world around them faded as they acknowledged the unacknowledged desire building between them. Their connection was unmistakably weaving into something more profound, a desire to mate, to bind their worlds irrevocably. Each heartbeat echoed the promise of exploring this intimacy further, creating a fusion of humanity and alien spirit. "Let's build together," Charles whispered, the implications echoing between them. With a tentative gesture, he reached out, taking her hand in his, a physical symbol of an emotional promise. Daisy smiled softly, her fingers entwining with his. Their world had shifted, and together they were ready to face whatever lay ahead, fueled by hope, forged by battle, and grounded in an undeniable bond. With the echoes of battle fading into the background, Charles and Daisy lingered in the aftermath of their victory, the thrill of triumph still coursing through their veins. The alien fleet that had threatened their newfound home had retreated, leaving behind a sense of relief and triumph that held them together in its embrace. As they surveyed the battlefield, the gravity of their experience began to settle in. "We did it!" Lyra exclaimed, her eyes wide with elation. "Together, we truly fought as one." Vexa beamed, clapping her hands excitedly. "This place feels different now, more alive. We've reclaimed it for us." Charles turned to Daisy, marveling at her radiant smile, the way the sun highlighted her ethereal features. "We've created something remarkable here. We transformed this place into a sanctuary." "Yes," Daisy replied, her gaze intense. "But it's more than that. We have each other, not just in battle, but in life." Her fingers intertwined with Charles's, sending a ripple of warmth through him. "Charles, after everything we've shared, I believe we're destined for more than just friendship. We should explore what we could become." An electric curiosity ignited in Charles's chest. "You mean?" Daisy nodded, her vibrant eyes shimmering. "Yes, this bond. It transcends words. Together, we can forge a connection that embodies our worlds, the essence of human and alien merging in a way that haven't been possible before." His heart swelled at her words. He felt the undeniable chemistry between them, an attraction that had grown from friendship into something deeper and primal. The realities of their respective worlds faded away, leaving only the promise of discovery that lay ahead. As Charles leaned closer, their eyes locked in a silent understanding that transcended speech. The air around them hummed as they surrendered to the instinct pulling them together. In that moment of vulnerability, the hesitation that once lingered dissipated. "Let's embrace this," Charles whispered, heart racing. As their lips met for the first time, the touch ignited a whirlwind of emotion, an intense explosion of warmth and connection that spoke of a profound bond sealed by moments of adventure, camaraderie, and hope. Pulling away slightly, an exhilarated grin spread across Daisy's face. "Together, we can embark on an extraordinary journey, not just as warriors, but as partners." Charles nodded, his heart full of hope as he realized the depth of what they would build together. "Yes, let's discover the worlds we can create, and the stories we have yet to tell." With the remnants of their battle behind them, they began to envision a future filled with possibilities. They would explore the wonders of both Earth and Daisy's home, a world that promised limitless adventures and an opportunity to blend their cultures. They knew the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges. However, they felt invigorated by the bond they'd forged, strengthened by their desire to protect one another and discover the depths of their connection. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the landscape, Charles felt Daisy's hand tighten around his. Together, they stood amidst the ruins, radiant with the promise of new beginnings and the intertwining paths of their lives, one forged by love, adventure, and an unbreakable bond that transcended the stars. Months passed since Charles and Daisy united their worlds in ways they'd never imagined. With the threat of the alien fleet vanquished, they transformed the remnants of Earth into a vibrant sanctuary for both humans and aliens alike. What had once been a place of solitude brimming with echoes of the past now flourished with color and life. Together, they introduced elements of Daisy's advanced technology to the remnants of humanity, rejuvenating cities with incredible innovations that minimize the ravages of time. Earth, once abandoned, began to reclaim its former glory, mingling alien beauty with human history. As they worked hand in hand, their bond deepened, their lives intertwined seamlessly, sharing laughter, love, and the thrill of adventure brought forth by shared experiences. Charles learned to embrace his role not just as a protector, but as a partner, exploring the complexities of their relationship. One starlit night, as they stood on a hill overlooking the revitalized landscape, Charles turned to Daisy, his heart swelling with affection. "What we've built together is remarkable," he said softly, glancing at her radiant form illuminated by the moonlight. Daisy smiled, the warmth of her gaze igniting sparks in his core. "You've taught me so much about humanity's spirit, Charles. It's unique and beautiful." In that moment, they felt a vital connection binding them, transcending their differences and grounding them in shared values. With newfound admiration and respect, they realized they had formed not only a partnership but a family. "Let's continue to explore our worlds together," Charles proposed, taking her hand. "As mates." Daisy's eyes sparkled with joy. "Yes, together forever." Hand in hand, they gazed upon the horizon, a symbol of their shared journey, waiting to unfold. With adventure beckoning, they stepped forward into a new life filled with endless possibilities, crafting a legacy not only for themselves, but for the generations of humans and aliens that would come after